all of those experiences have definitely helped me now. So I feel very grateful for learning those lessons at such a young age and being able to apply them now. But it's definitely that balance, right? Like you have to know who you are and what you want to do, but at the same time, you also always have to be willing to not be right and to listen and like
Hmm.
take certain things and to hopefully it's collaborate. It's all a collaboration.
Hi, Skylar. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, thanks for having me. I
Anytime.
feel like I don't have a microphone or anything or headphones. So I'm like, I hope the audio is okay.
I think it sounds great.
Okay, good.
Yeah, most of the time the computer, depending on what computer you have, it sounds pretty good.
Awesome.
Yeah, and
Amazing.
Zoom does a pretty good job of like compressing it and everything. So
Yay. Great.
awesome, awesome. Well, very nice to meet you. I'm Adam, and this is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the EP you have coming in.
Incredible. Sounds
Sweet.
good.
Awesome, awesome. So I read that you originally were you born in Tampa Bay?
I lived a little everywhere, but but yes, I'm from Tampa originally.
Okay, yeah. Your dad
Yeah.
was a football player, correct? So he was
He
probably
did.
multiple
Exactly.
teams. At least I was looking up his career, pretty impressive. I mean, Super Bowl
Thank you.
ring, why not?
I have to tell him. Yeah, no, I moved around a ton, dude. Whatever city he was playing in, we lived there. So yeah.
Okay. So he was already in the NFL and everything, obviously, when you were born. He was
Yeah,
playing for
he
Tampa Bay
won.
at the time.
Yeah, he was with Tampa Bay. So he won the 2002 Super Bowl with them the year that I was born in 2002.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yes. And then he played, I want to say up until, oh, he's going to be so mad at me for, I want to say like 2010-ish. He like played up until.
That's what I
Um,
got on the internet. So
yeah. Okay. So I'm right. Thank God. Yeah. He would have been so mad. So yes, he played for a
yes.
little while.
So yeah, you were about 8 or so when he retired then.
Yeah, because when he retired, that was like right around the same time, not that much long later, that I discovered my love for music. And so we ended up moving to California. We were in Wisconsin at the time. And after he retired, we were like, we're going to move back to Wisconsin. That's where both of my parents' families are from and just stay there. And then I was like, psych, I want to sing. So then we came here.
That's awesome. Well, how
Yeah.
cool that he's that supportive, that he's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Why not? Let's
Oh, he
go.
was so supportive. I think actually, because I did a talent competition out here when I was like 9, and I ended up winning like all the categories I competed in. And so I called him and I was like, Dad, I won and I really want to do this. And he said, like, you know what? I got to live my dream and have those opportunities. And I want to be able to give my kids like those same opportunities and the chance to live theirs. And literally that day he decided, he's like, let's do it. So
Wow.
yeah, so I feel very grateful that my parents were so supportive at such a young age.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you were how long were you in Tampa Bay for? Not very long? And then you
No, I
moved?
wasn't there for very long. I was there for a couple years, and then he ended up. Moved to New Orleans, so we lived in New Orleans for like 5 years, and then we moved back to Wisconsin. He went and played in Atlanta for a year, and then but we
Mhm.
moved home to Wisconsin, and we were like me and my mom and my little brother at the time was a baby, so we were planning on living our lives there, and then I screwed up the whole plan. So yeah.
Are you in Wisconsin now? Or are you in LA? Or
No, I'm in California. Yeah.
okay. So you were in Wisconsin and obviously you knew you had some talent or you to try out for this contest or even enter this competition. At what age were
Yeah.
you?
I was 9, so it all happened really quickly. So I was 9 years old. There was this talent show I was supposed to play the piano in, and then they ended up like during the audition, like I don't know, they said they had another piano player or something, and they just were like, just try singing it. And the song that I was playing on the piano, and I was like, I've never sang before, and they're like, just try it, you're here. So I sang, and like instantaneously, it was just like you're in for the singing, and I like fell in love with it, and it was just from that point forward, I was just off to the races. I started like doing anthems all across the country and writing my own music and just doing anything and everything that I could to pursue a music career. And then that's when my parents found that competition here in LA, and they're like, at the time we're small towns, so they're like, oh, let's go to LA and like, let's see. So we came out here and I just did this thing. And I think for my parents, getting outside the Wisconsin bubble and having other people recognize what I did and my at such a young age, like my initial kind of talent for it I think it helped reaffirm them that, okay, we're not like just these blinded parents that think their
Yeah.
kid's so great, you know, like there actually is some credibility to this. And so that's when they decided, like, let's give California a try for her. And then we've been here ever since.
Wow.
The
Yeah,
goal
you're
was to
not
only be here for a couple months, and then we
really, and then it
never
just
left.
worked
Yeah.
out. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not just Wisconsin big, I guess, at that
No,
point.
exactly. It's just hard because Wisconsin also doesn't, Wisconsin's great, but it doesn't have very many like musical opportunities. It's outside
Sure.
of like theater, and which I'm, you know, I'm not in. So as like an R&B pop singer, it's just very limited for opportunities, except for national anthems and things of that sort. So
Mhm.
so yeah, so I loved being here. When we first came out here, I was like, there's other singers and there's sessions and performances. Like I was just on cloud nine. I loved it.
That's so cool. So the initial contest that you were in was in Wisconsin, and then you were entered in another one when you got to Los Angeles?
No, the talent
Oh.
show that I did at my school talent show was in Wisconsin.
Oh, that
And
was a
then my,
school talent show.
yeah,
Got
it was a
it.
school,
Okay.
sorry, my bad. I didn't
No, no,
clarify.
no.
Yeah, it was a school talent show. And yeah, and then I ended up coming out and doing the talent competition here in LA. And then that's when I think my parents had changed it for them.
Okay,
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
you. You said you played piano too. At what age did you start playing piano?
I started playing piano when I was 5 or 6. But it's so funny. My parents put me in it because they've always wanted to learn an instrument and they never did. So they're like, oh, let's have her like try learning an instrument. But also it's supposed to help with math and school skills. I don't
Oh,
know
it makes
how
sense. I mean,
they
there is
correlate,
so
but
much math. I mean, if you really think about it, to be honest, with notes
yeah,
and this goes with this, and yeah.
that's true. There's like a lot of pattern.
Mhm.
And also with focus, I think it just, especially as a kid, you're just kind of bouncing off the walls, and it kind of you forces you to focus, which I'm assuming, yeah, it didn't really help me in school. I still was bouncing off the walls, but but it ended up transforming into something else really cool. So it worked out.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get to LA and you were in a talent competition in Los Angeles,
Mhm.
and you said that's the one you won a bunch of categories, or you won.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then after that, is it like, okay, I won this, and are your parents like, what do you do next? Do people you start
So they were like,
networking
we're
or?
gonna give you a couple month trial. We're gonna, because my brother, I have a younger brother, and he was like 2 at the time, so he was little, and they're like, we're not selling our house. Like, you a couple months, we'll rent an apartment, short term lease, and like I think they really did think in the back of their mind that it was gonna just be like a karate or something for me, where I love for like five
Right.
seconds as a kid, and then I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, they weren't ready to go all in. I have kids
Yeah,
myself, so
no.
it's like I know yeah. If you go all in, you're like, uh
I know, and
oh.
I tell them all the time, I'm like, you guys are, I'm like so thankful, but I'm also like, you're crazy, because if I was a parent, I was like, I don't know what I would have been thinking. But yeah, they're like, no, we'll give you a couple months, like we'll try it, like woohoo extended vacation, right? And so I ended up though loving it. Like they always say, like it was so funny, like I like never like complained. Like I was just like, they saw like a whole different side of me as like a kid. They were just like, it just really did feel like you found your thing. And that's how I felt in the moment. I mean, I was young, so it's kind of like hard. I feel like I've lived like 100 lives, so it's hard to remember all of it. But I do
Mhm,
remember like the first session I was in, and I just felt so at home.
mhm.
And like I just, yeah, so I started releasing and writing my own music when I came out here, and just doing
Wow.
recording sessions and working with other writers. And I ended up releasing an EP that I worked on for a little bit when I was like 11.
Mhm.
It ended up coming out, and then it ended up getting a lot of like label attention. I started taking meetings and
Is that
doing
your
all of
uncovered
that.
EP? That
Yes, that
okay.
one. And then I also did another one, which is just horrible that I'm even mentioning this, because I wanted to be buried underground for forever and ever and ever. But it was called Firecracker. And
Oh, yeah, yeah. I was going through your other records. I mean,
that's
I found
horrible.
out no, it's
I'm
good. I was
sorry
gonna
for
ask you
your
about
ears.
that.
I apologize for your
Mm,
eardrums.
please don't. Well, you had, maybe this was after it, though. You
Mhm.
had, the This Is Me, right? That was an
Yeah,
album?
yeah.
And
So I
that
had
one
the.
had you had a
Go
song
ahead.
that
Go ahead.
Ariana Grande wrote on that album, I think?
Yeah. Yeah, so the timeline of like the projects I released, so it was the Firecracker EP, and I did the Uncover right around the same time. I ended up
Mhm.
signing to a label around the same time, that I'm no longer with, but I was with them for
Yeah.
a period of time. Released that album, the This Is Me album. And then I ended up having like label changes and chaos behind the scenes
Yeah,
that happened. And then I ended up
of
kind of
course.
just continuing to release music, like with a label, like an independent label outside of the major that I was with before. And then I released, I want to say that's when all those singles that I did before I released the Redemption
Hmm.
EP album. Because right when I became independent from that situation, I was like 16 and I broke away from all of that. And then I released the Redemption EP album independently completely. And
Wow.
then from that point forward, all the other music was like me independent up until obviously the most recent stuff that I've been doing,
Yeah.
which is now with Def
Def
Jam.
Jam. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it was a crazy journey, but yeah, I mean, hey, we're we're here.
That's yeah. And I want to talk to you about the new EP. I'm super excited to hear about it. I'm curious a little bit on kind of like so you did the Uncovered and that first Firecracker EP. I was
Yes,
reading that you also did a lot of stuff on YouTube, right? Is that
I
did you get
did.
discovered on YouTube, or did somebody find you on YouTube, or not? It was just a thing that
Um,
had happened.
it's more of a thing that just happened. I think a lot of my core fan base when I first started was from YouTube.
Hmm.
Less so like industry discovered. I think it was more like from a fan standpoint and listeners. I think a lot of people discovered my music through YouTube. Because that's when like YouTube still was ahead of streaming around that time, and
Oh
that was
yeah.
still kind of like the big YouTube moment. So that was a great platform, and then it kind of then started to shift.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'd say YouTube. And then also I had some syncs early on with some of my songs. Like I had a song called Rooftop that ended up getting like a Disney original movie
Yeah, that's huge.
sync. And yeah, so I think it was kind of the combination of all of those things in the beginning that kind of started the initial wave into the industry.
But I mean, to have syncs and have labels and people
Mhm.
and be a songwriter at that young of an age, I mean, that's so impressive. And not the amount of
Thank
stuff that you've already accomplished, and you're still so young. Like that takes most, never happens, or years upon years upon years. I mean, to be that young going into writing sessions and stuff with people, were you intimidated at all? Or did you feel like, oh, these people aren't going to take me seriously because I'm 14 or 16,
Yeah.
whatever it may be?
I mean, definitely that was a thing I think I always dealt with. Even now, like I think it's a little bit better for sure. But especially when you're young and a woman with like a very strong voice and opinion, and like I was young and I like knew what I wanted, and like I was
Yeah.
very forward about like, and obviously always a nice, respectful way, but I just knew like my vision. I always knew like what I wanted to say in my music, even at a young age, even if they were experiences I haven't even been through. I just knew the story I wanted to tell. And so I think it like threw some people off, like who does this girl think she is, like coming in here with like little to no experience from Wisconsin. And but I also am very lucky because I feel like I've also worked with so many great people right off the cuff. Like I always say that I feel so grateful that I never really had to deal with I didn't have like any huge crazy stories or experiences, bad experiences with people I worked with. Which I also think really helped also give me confidence because I worked with a lot of people that gave a lot of positive reinforcement and also like respected what I wanted to say and do with my music and wanted to help complement that and work together. So I feel very, very fortunate for that. But I've also learned a lot through a lot of the experiences I went through when I was younger. But yeah, I think it was interesting. But I always loved it. Like I never that never really bothered me or like tilted my interests or I don't know, outlook on the industry or tainted anything for me. I always just kind of see obstacles as like little speed bumps and you just kind of keep going. But yeah, I was a studio rat. Like you could not get me out of the studio. Like, and my poor mom, she was so supportive, like, cause I couldn't drive obviously at like
Yeah.
10, 11, 12. So she would drive me to my sessions and they'd be from noon to like sometimes like midnight, like,
Right. I was
and
gonna
my
say
mom would
probably
just
so
stay.
late. Yeah.
Yeah, she would stay and just like sit outside in her car and like wait for me and like text and make sure everything was going good. And she would always come in and like say hi to everyone first and like, be a good mom and make
Yeah.
sure like
I'm in the
nobody
car,
was
just so you guys know.
sketchy. Yeah, but she was so supportive and sweet. But yeah, that's what I remember. My earliest studio memories are all fairly well, which is I feel very grateful for.
Did you have any of that, like, oh, well, you should sound like this because of this, or
Oh my gosh.
you should do this or dress like this, or I
Yeah,
mean,
that was my I dealt with that a lot with my first label experience that I was in.
mhm,
Ultimately causing it to end. But yeah, it was a lot of me. I'm also a very trusting and loyal person.
mm,
So, and I also love to learn. Like I never think I'm not the smartest person in the room. Like, and I don't want to be. Like I want to be learning constantly and growing. So I think that's the balance I had to learn though of who though to learn and trust,
right,
and rather
right.
than just like giving that off the bat to every single person. Because not everybody has like great intentions always. So yeah, I dealt with
Or
that
the
a
right
lot.
answer, right? I mean,
Yeah.
especially, I mean, the music industry or creative industry in itself is so, I mean, you can't just, there's no formula to be like, okay, all right, you're gonna do this and then this and then this is gonna happen. It never works out like that. So the
Yeah.
fact that you stuck to your guns are like, no, I don't, this is what I want to do. This is my vision. Even if it not doesn't work with the label, like obviously you still have a career and everything's
Yeah.
doing well, you know, everything's going well. But I mean, I'm sure a lot of people could be in a position where it's like, well, I guess I just have to say yes to everything because this person
Yeah.
has
And
a
it's so hard
resume
to
of
because you really
this.
want it, right? Like when you want
Yeah.
something, you're motivated, like you want it so bad and you want to believe people, but yeah, you have to learn that balance for sure.
Yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that being so hard because, yeah, like you said, you want it so bad, and it's like, well, am I? If I just say no, is it over? Right?
Yeah.
Is this my chance? And then I'm going to shut it down because my
Exactly.
ego is getting in the way. But obviously, if you know what you want and you've made the right choices, so that's
Aw.
yeah, I can imagine that being really really difficult, especially being young and so want it so bad, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I had to learn, and and I think all of those experiences have definitely helped me now. So I feel very grateful for learning those lessons at such a young age and being able to apply them now. But it's definitely that balance, right? Like you have to know who you are and what you want to do, but at the same time, you also always have to be willing to not be right and to listen and like take
Mhm.
certain things and to hopefully it's collaborate. It's all a collaboration, but it's just
Sure.
surrounding yourself with the right people to collaborate with. And so I feel
Mhm.
like luckily I'm in a position now where I think that also contributes to why I feel so excited and passionate and great about this next wave of music and where I'm at, because I really feel like I have such a great team of people around me that I really trust 100%. And I feel like the collaboration is works really, really well,
Mhm.
which is so important. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the songs you've been putting out are awesome.
Thank you.
With that for just my last question on that, first batch of releases is,
Yeah.
with the Ariana Grande song, I'm just curious, like, was that something that the label's like, "Oh, hey, there's this song, do you want it?" Or like, I mean, that was years ago, I mean, she was famous, but it wasn't like Seven Rings that just came out. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the Coachella headliner level wasn't at that
No, so I actually got
stature
pitched
yet.
that song. So, which
Okay.
was, I usually write all my own music, but that was one of the songs that I got pitched. And I remember the first time I heard it, I just like, I loved it. And so when that happens, it's very rare, but when that happens, I'm like, I don't want to touch anything. I love it the
Do
way
it.
it is. Like, I would love the opportunity to record this. And luckily, they let me, and I ended up getting the song. But yeah, I remember the first time I heard that song, I was just like, she did such a great job, even on the demo, and her writing on it too. And I just was, I wanted to honor that,
Mhm.
because it was great.
That's
I don't
cool.
want to, if it
Yeah.
ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Sure.
So
You said Redemption was the first record that you had put out independently? You did that the
yes,
whole thing independently? What was
yes,
that
yeah.
like? I mean, were you, was there any feelings, like, were you nervous at all in that? Like, "Okay, well, now I don't have, I don't know, this machine." Maybe you probably had a team still behind you, but in the sense of, like, "I don't have the label and this thing going, like, hopefully this does what I want it to do," or was it just, "I
Yeah.
love these songs, I'm gonna just do it," and, like, did you must have had final say on everything, like, I know all these songs are making the album, like, there's probably not a lot of hoops to jump through at that point, and was that kind of
Yeah.
freeing?
No, it was really refreshing, I think, because I was so used to having to go through so many hoops and like kind of not agreeing with the vision of the team that I was with at the time.
Mhm.
So I was just in a place where I was just like, I just want to like, I just want to release stuff that I don't want to overthink it. I just want to release what I want to release with like no, honestly, like in a position where I wanted people around me's opinions, but I also was just like, I just need this for my healing. Like I just need to do what my gut says. And I had to kind of teach myself how to trust my own instincts. So that was kind of that was like a very healing album for me. And it kind of reinstated like you have your own opinion, like trust your gut, like listen to your own opinion. And so that was a really fun project to do for those reasons.
And with like going
Yeah.
into this new project, I mean, now you have a label again. Were you kind of gun shy or anything? Like, I don't know. I'm sure you knew a lot more going into it now. Like you have all of the hindsight of like, this is what happened before. I don't want that to happen again. But like to
Definitely.
have an album out independently and then be like, okay, I guess I can work with a label again. Was that a
Yeah,
tough
no, it's all
decision?
about the people, right? So I met Tunji and the whole Def Jam team, and through my management and just obviously being in the industry and around those guys. And I've always been a fan of Tunji. He's just such a great person, and I love his taste, and I love what Def Jam is doing as a label.
Mhm.
So I felt really excited to be a part of it, and I also love that they love my voice. Like a lot of the music I had before, and I came into the deal with, and they loved it, and they loved the direction I was on, and they wanted to help support it. And I think that's where like business collaborations or just relationships in general work, is when
Mhm.
you both have the same end goal, right? And you both have
Sure.
the same moral system, and also just like, yeah, have the same vision. And so our visions were in line, and then we had like different things that we both could complement each other with and come together to make the best
Mhm.
result in this project with. So I was really excited. I felt ready, and I felt like I kind of learned from my bad past experience, and was ready to jump into this one more prepared and
Mhm.
even more excited.
Love it. Well, you put your independent album out and then in 2019 and then like the pandemic happens probably, I don't know, within a year at least of that happening. How does that like during that time, I know you put a lot of songs out, right? Singles. I love the In the Club cover you did too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
such a
so
good cover.
random. That was
That's
like
such
a
a good
total
cover.
COVID, like, why not?
Yeah, yeah. So like are you writing a lot in that during that time or like how are you kind of I mean the industry changed so much. I mean it's constantly changing, but I mean between then and 2019 and 2021, I mean there was so much that had happened.
Yeah, I actually learned how to vocal produce during COVID and also play the drums. So it was a very productive year for me.
Oh,
I was
cool.
definitely like, what can I do that I feel like I can leave this crazy situation better from, right? So
Mhm.
I felt like I was just on a mission to kind of check all the things off that I've always wanted to do that I hadn't gotten to yet.
Mhm.
And so I used that time locked away in my room, learning how to do a few extra things that I've now taken out from that and continue to do, and has helped in so many ways. So like in the club, like I did that at home on my own, and I really don't know what I would have done if I didn't know how to do that, because there's really no other way to like record or put
Mhm.
out music, because especially in the beginning phase when everybody was like 100% lockdown mode, not seeing anybody. So yeah, and I actually learned pretty quickly. It literally took me a full day, and I just sat there and watched 100 YouTube tutorials, and I knew how to vocal produce like the next day.
No way. Wow.
Yeah, I think it helped having so many years of experience in the studio,
Sure.
to kind of be like, oh, that's when they do this. So that makes sense. But yeah, I literally was just like, I am learning this today. And I did.
Did you write a lot of the songs that were on Earth Signs during that time too?
All of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Locked In,
all
I
of
would
them.
imagine is
The,
probably one
the
that was
first,
on there.
yeah, yeah, actually, that's funny. I've never put that together. That's hilarious. Yeah, Superman was the first one that I wrote, and then all the other ones came pretty quickly after. I think
Did you produce
Superman, and
those
then
yourself or did you work with somebody after the fact?
no, I did a lot of them the initial period myself. Like I would write the demos, and then I would take them to friends or other collaborators.
Mhm.
I worked a lot with a friend of mine named Casey, and then also another friend, his name was Casper. So they were like ready to work during the pandemic. And so I was over at their house if I wasn't at mine. And they did quite a few on the EP. And then the rest were just through like producers sending me beats, and then me like writing at home and then finishing them up. Yeah.
So I mean, that takes us to the new EP. So tell me about these songs, and, when did you start working on this, and are you working with different people when you go into this new project?
Yeah. So this project, I've been working a lot with D Mile, who's incredible. He's the best. So I've been working with him
He's
a
done
lot
a
with
ton
this.
of massive artists.
Oh, he's incredible. He's so sweet. And also a lot with Scribs Riley and his brother Talay Riley. Um, they've been like my main collaborators thus far with the project. But yeah, this project was a lot different too. I think going in, it was just, I had a vision I wanted to elevate. And I was very open too, though. I was like, I want to make music that feels very flirty and confident and fun. And I feel like Redemption and Earth Signs were a little bit more serious in tone. So I wanted this to feel like a little bit more like feeling based. So obviously I feel like D-Mile and Scribs and all the collaborators I worked with did a really good job at translating that vision and helping me pinpoint exactly and specific what that was and what that would look like and sound like.
Okay. And did you know you were writing a project at that time, or did you have some songs? Okay, so you already kind of had
I started. Shiver was the first song.
Oh, was it?
I started the process last January, like right after the holiday, and it was like album mode.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So which
is different too. Usually it was different. I'd like collect songs, and this was like, no, this is like we're creating a project, which was also really different.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. So you knew, like, when you had Shiver, was it like, okay, this is definitely, you already had like an idea for what the whole thing would kind of possibly unfold to look like?
Yeah, for sure. Shiver was like set the outline of everything, which is very rare. That never happens usually. Like, it's not like the first song you do is like, but
right.
I think we didn't even really know at the time. Like, we just loved Shiver and thought it was a great piece, and then it ended up kind of standing the test of time and becoming the center point. But I love that because it also was the first song. So I think it's so authentic and cool that it's like, it really became like everything Shiver world, and Shiver was the first song. So I love that.
And it's
I
the
feel
title
like
track right to the EP as well.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. I know. It's just so funny. It was such a sleeper too off the bat. Like, people loved it, but I think it got overshadowed by some of the other like more up-tempo songs and whatnot. But yeah, it ended up, but then it like creeped up right last minute and was like became first single. And then we were just like, I remember I was with my creative director and we were talking, and she was like, what if we just name the EP Shiver? Like, I feel like was the first song. It ended up being the first single. Like, it feels very like exactly how I want the music to come across verbally, I guess, if you don't hear it, like how you want to envision that it's going to sound, which is like mysterious but flirty. And it also kind of, I like the sounds of like when you say Shiver, and then also like with my name, like the S's. And I don't know, I just felt like it was a really good introduction into this next wave. So I love it. I was like rooting for it too, and it earned its spot. Yeah,
that's amazing. And then Shut Up is the most recent one that you put out, which is the next song on the EP. What was the like, or did you have more than the batch that are on the EP, and you kind of had to like make it like,
yeah, the EP was done right around the same time we decided Shut Up was going to come out.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're kind of figuring out timing, and I just thought Shut Up felt so summer, like going into the summer. So, and I'm also I like matching music with seasons. So I thought that was a really cool kind of play into that. Also, Shut Up too, I feel like sonically sounds the most different, I guess, or like standalone than anything else on the EP. So I also wanted it to have its own moment, because it didn't just feel like an EP track to me. It kind of like it deserved its own its own thing. So that's kind of what played a role into making the decision for Shut Up to be the next one.
Is the other songs on the record, are they, because the first couple are, I mean, they're fairly slower songs, correct? I mean, is the album have that same kind of vibe to it? I mean, the whole EP have that same vibe to it?
Yeah, I'd say I'm just going over the songs in my head. I'd say like there's like a couple mid-tempo, there's a ballad, and then there's another one that's like, there's one in specific called Permission. And that one is definitely the most up tempo of all the songs. So I'm really excited for that one. That one I'm very excited for. That's like, I can't wait to perform that one. That one's just going to be so fun.
Have you performed any of the songs from the record yet?
I haven't. I'm dying to. I want to so bad. I think it's coming. It's coming soon. I'm actually soon. I don't know when this is going to come out, but I'm actually
I put it out the day that you're out, the EP comes out.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm actually, I'm about to record a bunch of acoustic versions of all the songs and do all of that too. So that's like my first introduction into doing them semi quote unquote live,
cool.
which I'm really looking forward to doing. Yeah.
I love the acoustic versions that you put out of songs. I think that's such a
Thank
cool
you.
idea. Yeah. Cause I
Thank
mean,
you.
they're great. I mean, but to strip it down even more so into just like the acoustic version. I'm excited to hear how these other ones. I had a chance to hear the EP. It's awesome. And I want to, yeah, I'm excited to hear it
Thank you. Oh, I
even
so
more
appreciate that.
stripped down.
Thank you.
Um, Very, very cool. So but you don't have like a tour or anything ready to like that you have booked or anything to
I'm
go
not
or
as of
do you?
right now. No, the goal I would say would obviously be to do like this fall, definitely do some shows. And then also spring of next year, I could definitely see something a little bit like more long-term, longer running. Which I love tour, so no complaints here. I'm still looking forward to it.
Do you have music videos you're doing for the songs?
I do. I have visuals, and then like right now we're in the process of kind of deciding what songs. I think that's kind of the fun part about like, so we have visuals, but I think once the EP comes out, I love seeing letting the people kind of tell what
Oh, okay.
they want to see. So
Mhm.
I've done some videos, obviously for Shut Up and for Shiver, but I kind of want to wait and see what people think of the EP, and then go from there when it comes to a little like more of the bigger scale videos. But I so enjoy bringing that visual aspect to a song. I also think it's so fun too, because everyone kind of has their own in their head, and then it's fun to then see what the artist or what the video ends up turning into.
Mhm.
Um, so that's why I kind of like releasing videos after the song, because it just adds like another fun twist. But yeah, definitely in discussions. Yeah,
Very cool. Yeah, because you have an acting background as well. Do you
a
help
little
a
bit.
lot with the you've been in some things.
Oh,
Um
weensy bit.
uh do you help a lot with that creative direction when it comes to like the premise and what the videos are about?
100%. Yeah, I'm super involved. It's funny, I'm not like super like deep meaning artsy, like this symbolizes this, and like it's like it's hard for me to do that. I'm just more of a feeling like but I definitely have visions of things. Like I'll be like, oh, what if like this should be like in a room, and it should be like daydreaming, and like we did for Shiver, I was like, I just feel like this needs to be a performance video, very intimate like the song, and I feel like this makes the most sense with the lyrics. So I'll definitely do that. A lot of the times it kind of the song tells me what it needs, and I actually feel like I get pretty literal with the lyrics and the concepts of the videos. But I
Mhm.
would love to one day just do something super left field and super creative and out of pocket and random. I think that'd be so fun. But usually I keep it pretty like literal. If the lyrics, you can kind of, I think, listening to the song, envision kind of what the video will be. And we're probably on the same page.
Okay.
Yeah, if
I
that makes
love it.
sense.
No, 100%. And I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for
Thank
doing
you so
this.
much. I appreciate
Um,
it. It was so great talking with you.
it's been awesome. I have one more question. I want to
Yeah.
know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Oh, I would say just give it, I mean, this is so cliche, but like give it 150%, give it your all. And also don't be afraid to try things. I think that's like the number one thing is, especially as me as an artist, I think sometimes I overthink and I get in my head and I kind of retract on things that I thought at once, oh, that would be cool or this. And then I kind of psych myself out of it. But I feel like, especially in this day and age, just go for it, try it, try everything, and see where it takes you. And it's always the things you least expect that end up working. Yeah, and don't be afraid. And also just like listen to your gut, like always, first and foremost.
Bringing it backward.